Throughout the year or so of covering Honkai Star Rail, I've discussed quite a few theories. We've talked about the possibility of the story being on a repeating loop, the Eon of Equilibrium not caring about balance, and even an idea where the Trailblazer can change fate itself. Most of these theories have only been talked about in isolation, and for a long time, I've thought of them as largely disconnected. But what if I were to tell you that we have recently learned of some details that seemingly ties all or at least some of these ideas together? Something that explains why the Eons are at war with each other, why nous has stopped its calculations, and even why Aha likes Akavili so much. It seems that in the recent simulated universe expansion, there is evidence that suggests that all these things are connected. What's even more unexpected is that this reveal comes from the Lord of Silence herself, Polka Kakamond. So in this video, we are going to discuss what exactly she revealed, why she has gone around killing people, and perhaps unearth the true reason behind everything going on in the story. Before we discuss that in further detail, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. The start of this topic centers around the mysterious, unknowable domain that has manifested itself within the simulated universe. As you might have guessed, this means that this video will have quite a few spoilers for the new simulated universe expansion. So if you haven't played it yet, I'd suggest doing that first and then coming back later. Also, this video is a little longer than usual, but I really urge you to watch all the way to the end because there's quite a few things to discuss here. I'm also assuming you already know who Polka Kakamond is and her history, but if you didn't, she's basically one of the Genius Society members. For reasons previously unknown, she has chosen to erase every bit of information related to herself and has gone around the universe killing off other members of the Genius Society. That's really all you need to know for now. The unknowable domain story starts off when a mysterious void appears within the simulated universe. From the outside looking in, the void is seemingly empty of all data or information. Inside, however, everything appears normal. The domain is seemingly obscuring the details of a very specific historic event, one related to a researcher called Patavia Somerville, the scholar Strife, and an invention of Rupert, the scepters. Basically, during this period in history, the scepters were used to hyper-accelerate the advancement of knowledge, allowing Patavia to very nearly reach the brink of a major scientific breakthrough. For some reason though, Patavia didn't actually see her intellectual pursuits to the end, seemingly due to self-doubts and experiencing multiple unexpected roadblocks to her research. As she recalls this part of history, Herta mentions that she herself has experienced pretty much the same thing. Whenever she gets close to unraveling or discovering something big, she is inadvertently greeted by a wall of challenges. With a random portion of the simulated universe suddenly obscured and given the opportunity to find out why Patavia quit halfway, Herta dives headfirst into the void. As she and the Trailblazer slowly unravel the secrets of the unknowable domain, they eventually find the individual responsible, the Lord of Silence herself, Polka Kakamond. Kakamond reveals that the shroud of the unknowable domain was all her doing and traps the Trailblazer and Herta within it. Having revealed herself, she then starts monologuing about how significant every mortal action is, and how every decision can lead to an unlimited number of future outcomes. She then reveals why she has chosen to trap Herta as well as carrying out all the murders and killings in the past. Essentially, what she has actually come to kill is the myriad of chaotic possibilities people like Herta will bring. You may not know this yet, but this reveal has a whole plethora of implications. You see, what she wants to do is to ensure that the circle of knowledge, which is the boundary of all knowledge that currently exists, does not expand beyond what is allowed. According to her, if individuals were allowed to venture beyond the circle of knowledge, things quickly become chaotic, and the universe becomes less defined, which will prematurely lead the universe to finality. It's sort of like the more you expand the circle into the domains of the unknown, the more uncertain concepts, fate, and universal laws become. The actions of Herta and her merry gang of geniuses is essentially causing the expansion of knowledge and is slowly pushing against the current known boundary. This is why early in the story, Herta mentions that whenever she gets close to a major breakthrough, something always gets in her way. Whether it's data being corrupted, information being changed, and even people mysteriously dying, something has always halted her breakthroughs, much like what Patavia experienced in the past. It's pretty much stated that Polka Kakamond is one of the reasons why this always happens, as she is trying to prevent the circle from entering the domain of the unknown and triggering a knowledge singularity. In her controlled universe, or the knowable domain, the universe functions in a predictable and predefined way, and nothing unexpected or coincidental ever happens. It's almost like a story that has already been told or a fate that has already been decided. Starting to sound familiar? Well, we'll talk about fate in a little bit. While her claims make it seem like she has seen a glimpse behind the curtain of reality, in truth, she arrived at this revelation due to nous' own calculations. Kakamond explains that nous has found the perfect model of the future, and the uncontrolled expansion of knowledge essentially causes the universe to deviate from this model. Think of it like in the Loki series, where the Loom and the TVA function as caretakers to the timeline, deleting and pruning alternate timelines so that only a single one may exist. It's almost similar to that, with Kakamond being one of the agents who is doing the pruning. This is why the shroud was put over this part of history, not only to trap Herta, but because it was the most recent event in which the circle of knowledge was about to be breached and triggering a knowledge singularity. So to round all this up, Kakamond has been going around killing individuals who has come close to breaching the circle of knowledge and pushing the universe outside of the model nous calculated. By killing these geniuses or tampering with their work before they reach a breakthrough, she is in essence preventing the myriad of chaotic possibilities people might bring. That's all fine and good, but what has this got to do with any of the theories I've talked about on the channel? Well, here is where we are going to go right off the deep end. So you know how Kakamond is trying to ensure nous' perfect model is the one that the universe follows? Well, as it turns out, she likely isn't the only one doing this. In fact, this might involve way more than just the Genius Society. But let's first start with nous. We know from the previous simulated universe that nous has stopped all its computations. We've theorized in the past that they might have done this due to their calculations revealing something to them. As it turns out, Kakamond generally confirms this, with that something being the perfect model of the future. That's why nous stopped answering humanity's questions and is now indirectly guiding people towards a specific conclusion, one within its own models. Then, if you've watched my video on Ho'o and the equilibrium, you'll know that I suspected that Ho'o isn't actually representing balance, but is more about surveillance and control. In that video, I talked about how Ho'o seems to act more like a control system that ensures the story or fate develops in the way it's supposed to. Doesn't that sound a whole lot like what nous and Kakamond are doing? Ensuring knowledge doesn't go beyond the desired boundaries is kinda like ensuring fate isn't changed. Could it be that nous and Ho'o are actually working on the very same goal? Plus, the actions of several other Eons also seem to link up with the idea of a fixed or looping universe, or rather, they might be incentivized to ensure that it happens. In my Fully video, I spoke about how the Eon of Remembrance may be collecting memories to bring to the next universe. If the story of each universe is unknowable and constantly changing, their task then becomes infinitely tougher. Even with Clipath, I've once suspected that they are actually protecting or preserving planets not because of some sense of benevolence, but rather to ensure everything survives long enough to play their part in the predefined universe. Some of these Eons seem to be carrying out some version of what nous and Kakamond are doing, adhering to a golden path of a predefined universe. What I'm saying is that on their own, the Eons and their followers seem to be acting in a completely random way, but if we consider them doing something similar to nous, which is keeping the universe on a fixed path, then all of them appear to be similar in nature. It's all leading to the same thing, just different approaches or ways of achieving it. But this nonsensical rant is not yet done, because 4 Eons don't really account for all of them, right? Well, if the Eons I spoke about represent the side of order, given they are trying to maintain the status quo, there must be an opposing force, right? A counterbalance to their activities. This is where the other Eons like Aha, Ouroboros, and even Akavili comes in. Each of these Eons have in some way acted in the opposite manner than the ones I spoke about before. Aha, for example, wants chaos, but maybe it's not as simple as just a reason for fun. Aha was said to have learned the truth of the universe at some point and viewed the universe as cold and mechanical, perhaps hinting at the fixed universe. So maybe they want to empower people to push against the boundaries of fate or knowledge to free themselves from a fixed fate, but does so through enabling people in the name of fun. They encourage individuals to pursue their curiosities and interests and easily gives their powers out, all in an attempt to push humanity beyond the boundaries of the knowable. Then you have Akavili, who seems out of place on the side of chaos, right? But in Akavili's own law, their goal was said to have been to venture beyond the edge of the universe and find the tree of existence. Wouldn't that be akin to going beyond the circle of knowledge into uncharted and unknowable territory? Maybe this is why Aha likes Akavili. They are practically on the same side and why both are said to be closest to mortals. They actually want to free them from their fixed fate and destinies. In fact, what if this is the reason why Akavili was actually killed off? Perhaps they got too close to triggering a knowledge singularity or something. I mean, if they literally brought people beyond the boundaries of the known universe, it likely would have caused a great expansion of knowledge and exploration, leading to who knows what else. Plus, who's to say Aha and Akavili aren't just pulling a long con, with Aha helping Akavili fake their own death? I mean, the death of an Eon would be the ultimate prank. Even if you don't consider Eons who actually like humanity, those that are said to represent chaos like Tazaronth of propagation and Ouroboros of veracity have mysteriously been taken out. It seems to me that the Eons who side with Order have largely taken out their competition, and those that are gone are mostly those who represent chaos or value freedom. Nous, Ho-Oh, Klipoth, and Fuli are alive and well, while Akavili, Ouroboros, Idrilla, and Tazaronth are either dead or missing in action. So in truth, the Trailblazer may not actually be a hero of order, but instead, they are a champion of chaos. They are the catalyst that will force the order that has been instituted and maintained within the universe to come apart at the seams. There is currently a fight between two versions of the universe. One that is predetermined and bound to fate, the knowable universe, and the other is the unknowable universe, a universe free and unbound by the shackles of destiny. This is the true war Herta mentions at the end of all of this, and the one Jing Liu alluded to. A war between the Eons over reality and destiny itself. The war isn't just between geniuses anymore, but one that is on a cosmic scale and has likely existed since the first Eon was born. It is the age-old war of order versus chaos, control versus freedom. The war we are about to witness is a manifestation of something that has been building up since the very beginning. The difference is that now, chaos has a champion. One literally created by, you guessed it, Destiny's slave, Elio. This could very well be the ultimate point of the story. But again, this is all just a random theory. Everything Kakamond has mentioned is taken from the story directly, but maybe she's lying or maybe she doesn't have a full picture. Perhaps there is some other explanation for all of this, one we just don't know yet. I mean, I can't prove any of this, and until such a time where the story actually ends, this is really just ramblings. So believe what you will, and I will end the video here. Do you think any of this makes sense, or do you have a different idea entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found the video entertaining, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day.